For today's Monday makeup lesson, I'm going to show you how to create this glittery smoky eye. It's actually really easy to apply and you don't need that many eyeshadows or products. So let's get started. As always, I've started off by priming my eyelids using the Urban Decay Primer Potion. You can use concealer and a little bit of setting powder if you prefer. You basically want to create a blank canvas for you to work on. This is particularly important when you're doing a smoky eye. It'll also give the shadows something to hold on to. The first shadow that we're working on is that neutral shade. This should be at least one shade darker than your skin tone and at least 2 shades lighter than the smoky shadow that you're using. So just adjust this depending on your own skin tone and your preferred shades. You're also going to need a blending brush. We're actually going to be using 2, one for applying and one for blending. We're going to start off with the applying one and take a little bit of eyeshadow and start to work this from the outer edge of the eye, blending in. Instead of starting directly on the outer edge, I like to come in a little bit. This will just help with the blending process to make sure we're not blending our eyeshadows out too far. We want to keep our application in between these 2 lines. For regulars here on the makeup chair, you guys probably already know this, but for those who are beginners, you basically want to keep your eyeshadows blending in from this point. And to find this point, you're going to use the edge of your nose, edge of your eye, and edge of your brow, and keep your eyeshadows in from this point, and then create a parallel line for the inner corner, stopping at the tear duct. Don't worry too much about the inner corner, just really make sure you're focusing on that outer corner, blending over and back. So how do you blend? Well, what I like to do is I like to keep my hand quite low when I blend. This will just allow me to sweep over and back in the crease of the eye, and this is where the lid creases into the eye shape. You want to keep this nice and soft and blended. It should fade pretty much upwards towards the brows, but by the time it reaches the brows, it should be very sheer. You should also apply the shadow all over the lid. This will actually create a layered effect and help with the blending process for your smoky shade. As we're not using any other eyeshadows today, I really want to make sure this blend is perfect, so I'm taking a clean blending brush, so this doesn't have any product on it. And we're going to sweep this over and back to blend out any harsh lines. And now we're going to take our smoky shade. I'm going to use a flat brush, but also my fingertips to apply the shadow. We really want the darkness to be at the lash line, and there's 2 ways of doing this. Keeping your hand nice and low, or lifting your hand high and coming at the lash line at a higher angle. Do whatever works for you. And then I'm also going to be using my fingertips to apply it on the lid. This just allows me to work the black shadow into the lid. Once I've done that, I then take my blending brush. This is the one that was used previously, and softly sweep over and back to blend out what I applied with my fingertips. Now this brush will have a little bit left over from the previous shade, but that will actually help with the blending process. And all you want to do is to apply and blend until you get the depth of color that you like. Making sure that that lash line is nice and deep and dark and blending upwards into nothing by the time it reaches the brows. I then applied some mascara and lashes off camera, and we're going to continue by applying the glitter. I'm using this Urban Decay palette, which has some gorgeous glitters, and I'm using the Neon Moon shade. And I'm going to apply this with my fingertips just so I can really press this onto the lid. Sometimes I feel like your fingertips do a much better job with a lot of different shadows, particularly with this type of glitter. And you only want to saturate the lid starting in the center and then blending out. I'm then going to take a metallic eyeshadow. So this is very similar to the glitter, but it's more of a metallic sheen. And we're just going to apply this on the inner corner of the eye and also underneath the brows. The glitter won't give the same effect here, so we have to use metallic eyeshadow. I then took my flat brush and a little bit more of that black eyeshadow, and I just applied this on the outer 2/3 of the lower lid. And that's the finished look. If you recreate it, I would love to see it. Definitely let me know. Comment below if you have any questions, and you can also message me on Instagram. It's @ShaneadyKatie. Check out the other videos on the screen. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you're new here, hit subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.